thing, but I have only seen, like, in my entire time playing Heroes of the Storm, like 2 games that an Abathur slap actually had any amount of impact on the end of the game.
I'm curious what we've got next year at night, because
I have no idea.
we're going to Battlefield of Eternity.
Ooh, baby.
That's a no tomorrow pick. So Octalysis willing to favor that first pick again. Unsuccessful in that last game with that first pick, as No Tomorrow was able to hold on. But we do know this is a battleground that has been picked 3 times by Octalysis, although they do sit at a 1-2 record. When we look at that of No Tomorrow, they're 1-1 on this battleground. And it's always a mixed bag for No Tomorrow. I look down the list of map picks and see if there's any preference or priority at all. There's only 2 battlegrounds No Tomorrow's never picked, and that's Braxis and Tomb of the Spider Queen. And so it just, they're willing to play anywhere. And
yeah.
I think that goes to what their team is. They're still trying to figure out a lot on what they play in, Battlefield of Eternity. We're going to see if they can maybe have some success here.
After the performance we just got from Jay Shrite on the Hanzo, I'm very comfortable with the fact that we're going to Battlefield of Eternity. I mean, he was the MVP in my opinion. He had huge Dragon's Arrows, but it's more importantly the game-changing one that happened the format before that, the time he hit the Dragon's Arrow. It wasn't like, oh, hey, look at they're clumped up, I can just smash it, which I felt like later on it was just, look, they're clumped, this is going to be easy value. But he was able to time it around the healing opportunities from the other side to make sure the support could not join into the kill target. It was pretty here for Jay Shrite and friends. No Tomorrow have to keep it up, but one thing we gotta wonder here is will Medivh end up making it through, considering it's BOE based on games 1 and 2?
Yeah, we've seen Hammer banned throughout, and this has been something where we've seen Octalysis run a Hammer Li Ming composition in the past. Obviously, we've seen so many Hammer bans that we have to start looking at other things. But the Hanzo we saw in the last Battleground for the boss control, Hanzo on this Battleground, his insanely high win rate, even beyond any nerfs that we've seen for Hanzo, is still incredibly high just because of his race potential with that scatter arrow build. So see if that does have priority in the draft.
Definitely time being taken here by Octalysis, just considering it's only a first ban. Stick to the standard though. Take out the hammer. Will we still see any Diablo focus here? No, it's going to be Genji at least for now.
I honestly think, I mean, Genji obviously is a strong hero. We saw him basically banned out almost every game, it feels like, especially with double bans at the beginning. But Draded still is one of the most fearsome Genjis that we have in all of North America. We're going to see an Abathur ban by Octalysis, but his KDA on a, we'll say, less superior team during Phase 1, he was like top 5, top 6 in the world in Genji KDA. That's how impactful he was on a team that struggled for success. So definitely
to find the resets.
Yeah, a lot of success on that hero for him individually.
And there's the Medivh ban. Diablo, snap pickup though for Octalysis, not wasting any time. This is one of the battlegrounds where, even though Diablo can gain a lot of value, I look at it and I go, it's one of the best murdering battlegrounds. It's one of the few he legitimately caters to the actual map itself. So to see that level of priority, not surprising considering how meta and kind of, you know, high value a lot of people all over the world are putting Diablo. But I look at this and I go, if I'm No Tomorrow, I'm not concerned. We got ourselves a Hanzo. Support or warrior? That is the question. Neither. Gonna go with the Thrall instead.
So the one thing going for No Tomorrow is if they want to run a triple melee, which a Hanzo composition on this, if you can protect the Hanzo and just have the front line solidified, then it does work. We're going to see the Decker there, but Tomster, moving from a range, can always flex back. If we see Shrite on the Hanzo and maybe Tomster on the Thrall, I wouldn't be surprised. And so far, for Octalysis Dreadnought, we're seeing far more meta picks here as the Diablo, Deckard, and Yrel have all been picked up.
A lot of control there for Octalysis. I feel like Goku's been very difficult to be able to deal with whenever he gets the Yrel. Some of the better kind of, you know, building the wings, flying in and slapping around with the hammer out of the teams that we've had here at HGC North America. Maiev is that ban for No Tomorrow. They have not committed in any major direction. It'll be interesting as well if Octalysis put any fear into the support warrior choke, considering they have both of theirs and neither here for No Tomorrow. And if so, is that Murden anything to concern with, or is it more into the support avenue?
I like how the votes have shifted so drastically after that last game. We're going to see the white main ban. So No Tomorrow, again, do they want to go triple melee? They have the flexibility with this team to be able to do so. We already have the Thrall locked in. At times, we've seen him in the solo role, but more often than not, it's been that triple melee, especially in North America.
Lots going to be said here by No Tomorrow within their 3-4. not the phrases I expected to hear. Like, you know, let's break it down was not something I thought we were going to endure over this game, but actually give me a moment on this one. I was going to throw out my immediate thoughts, but I need some time to reflect on how I feel about this. We have gotten some Lucio, even Mary Day busting out the Lucio as of late, but he hasn't looked too hot.
Nah, not so much. We're going to get Li Ming Raynor, so very meta this time around. The Li Ming, I was wondering if we'd get Raynor or Phoenix. I think most teams are favoring Raynor at this point, so we still need a warrior. You mentioned the Muradin is available. Casanova, we'll see what he's comfortable with and what he wants to run.
With the Li Ming Raynor, there's not too much prep to the resets themselves, but Lucio is not an effective healer to be able to make that happen. I mean, Muradin seems like it's got to be the go-to. Instead, going to go with the Garrosh here. I can't help but feel like that is something that I would argue is purely responsive of the fact that they have a Lucio, and I feel like it's a little too optimistic in my opinion. Again, not only for the Muradin problems with the battleground itself, Muradin's relative strength overall. I think Garrosh is a warrior that we know is not out of the meta, but definitely he has his problems. He has no gap closer for his hard crowd control. He has all the amazing other tools, but when all the other gap closer warriors were nerfed to the floor, Garrosh looked like this champion among men, right? He had only one warrior to be able to deal with. Now that we're kind of getting back to that level, Garrosh has seen a couple of nerfs kind of coming in and more heroes that can deal with the Garrosh effectively. I don't feel like on a map like Battlefield of Eternity, it's relying on a lot, and he will be able to hold his own better maybe than the Muradin could for the Hanzo sit back and scatter. But again, I have a lot of reserves, I guess, on seeing the Garrosh pick as the last.
It does feel a lot like Protect the Hanzo at this point, the same way that it would be Protect the Hammer. Garrosh can simply throw people away if necessary. Obviously, Diablo on the other side. We'll see how effective he can be getting in. The Lucio, I think, is the biggest question mark for a lot of people because we've already seen it tried by No Tomorrow, and they basically scrapped it and then didn't go forward with it anymore. But it's coming back here again as we head into game number 4 to figure out how all of it will unfold. The Lucio in particular, Dreadnought, let's break it down.
Let us break it down. Lucio likes to ride walls, ladies and gentlemen. He's very good at that.
You know who likes to slam you into walls?
Diablo. Sadly, beyond the fact that Diablo likes to shove you into walls, that's about the only thing Lucio does better than a majority of other supports anymore is his ability to ride a wall. He's a lot faster, a lot more skirmishing capabilities with, you know, the passive healing opportunities out of his W, but by no means does he have the same healing as anybody else. He can track down when team fights that you've already won a lot harder in the same mechanics that Medivh can by removing the distance to safety and making your team relative, you know, a lot faster than your opponents. But other than that, I'm struggling to see the argument.
See if Akaface can make a believer out of us. One of the few in North America, I think the only in North America in quite some time that has still run Lucio. You know, there was Sergeant Hammer versus Li Ming earlier today. And I believe it was Nick on Method that for the first time in a long time I saw Seeker picked up at level 7. And Hammer was a target, but Garrosh, I believe, was on the other team. And I was watching Seeker just chunk help because obviously getting that armor comes, I don't know the timing exactly, but the Seeker damage is instant, right? So the armor doesn't protect you from that type of burst damage, that instant burst damage. I was watching it chunk down. Obviously, they ended up losing that game, but I don't think it was because of that style of play. But it was very interesting to see it come back in, obviously mostly for the Hammer at that point, but it was...
You actually just ruined my evening.
I forgot how much damage it did. Like, it was insane damage.
Just thinking about... that's something I've actually never really taken the time to study is the awareness around Garrosh's armor and the timing upframe of that, right? Compared to like a mosh pit, right? Like for everybody at home, mosh pit isn't a permanent channel. It's a wave, right? That comes out in very small increments, so you can actually like dodge around in between those waves as they pulse out. I've never thought about that. I'm breaking down when the armor comes into play because Seeker is one of the interesting examples of like it's technically 3 forms, but then it's like within one through its talent.
Yeah, I mean, there's I don't want to get too much into it because I know the number. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but it's like it's basically broken down in frames, very small increments, right, in terms of how stuff is calculated. So that burst damage will always be there, guaranteed, to couple with that before that proc of the armor. And there's certain talents that you can function around that. Obviously, Garrosh's armor is basically calculus in itself. It's like advanced calculus, but...
Yeah. The words effective HP just become your worst nightmare when trying to do anything around him.
Yeah, that's one I don't like to go into.
No, yeah.
Can I kill this Garrosh? I don't know.
Hey, well, yeah, if you carry over the 5, you know, no, it's not looking like it. Impaler pick up with a little bit of momentum here for No Tomorrow on the top half, forcing, it looks like a response here from Octalysis, actually backing out, getting distracted by the Shamans in the downtime. There's going to be time perfect, though, at the 2:30 window, knowing that Shaman's going to be, or excuse me, the Immortals will be up at the 3-minute mark, but No Tomorrow wasting no time, looking to match that for themselves. We do have a slight interesting adjustment when looking at the talents that we're talking about. We don't end up getting the Sapphire at level 1 from Deckard Cain. Field Study was the selection for Buds, so just look for him whenever he gets a massive scroll of ceiling. It's going to empower his damage output in the later stages of the game. That could be really problematic, especially on Battlefield of Eternity. But I can't help but feel like a lot of that is based on the battleground, ladies and gentlemen, how much time he's going to be able to hang out. Great job by Justin to be able to wear that flip from Casanova.
Casanova hitting the Indomitable right before, too. I mean, that was tank play versus tank play. If we're wondering, is Casanova rusty at all? It is not.
And if you wanted to know, again, the Lucio kind of trade-offs that we were talking about before, where does he come in? Why do we see the Lucio? And then also the Garrosh versus the Murden, you just watch it happen. The minute that you see the amp it up with the movement speed, Garrosh pops Indomitable. He looks like he's mounted. He's just going to run at you and be like, here is my free throw. Here is my, you know, free setup here. That being said, right now it's okay. But there's a big problem in that combo, J-How, and the fact that Lucio has to go with Garrosh. Garrosh is going to live through that. I'm not so sure Akaface will. We'll find out.
That's a matter of, can you interrupt? I mean, that's the one thing about Sound Barrier that has always struggled is if you get the interrupt on Sound Barrier, it does take away a lot of the survivability. There's going to be the stun onto Goku. As we see Octalysis moving through, starting to pull ahead here in this race.
Yeah, but the 1-4 split, if No Tomorrow can zone out a little bit better, it might be able to pay off here. Goku, though, moves up along with Justin. No Shadow Charge. There he goes against the wall. Ends up getting the flip over. Jin will survive for now, though. Race is going to be won on the Immortal by Octalysis. Goku's not done yet, but Akaface amping it up there with the mobility, and No Tomorrow will escape.
I'm like, oh, can they get the chase? No, they can't. They cannot get the chase down. It's almost instant. And Akaface is one of those players. I don't know how many people practice this, right? You know, in scrims and things of that nature on the Lucio. But historically, we have seen Akaface play more of the off-meta heroes at times. So I imagine this is in his repertoire.
And I will say that when it comes to the Lucio itself, on Lucio's initial release, North America was not a very big fan of Lucio. And that
so Lucio, we showed up to Clash.
He was a lot better than a lot of people gave credit for. And I will tell you this, he was the only North American support where I was like, Lucio's busted. And he was like, I agree. I think that is at that level. So I know that he has a, you know, kind of an affinity for Lucio a little bit more than your average player. That being said, he knows Lucio is a very different beast as it currently stands, and I guarantee is not feeling the exact same, but he has more appreciation for the mobility and the advantages and disadvantages that applies than I think most players do.
Octalysis, despite not having a large shield on that, no level 7 yet for Hanzo, so no cooldown reduction on that scatter arrow, so they were able to take down a fort. And getting a fort down with the first Immortal with that low of a shielding is quite nice.
Yeah, it's definitely not something I would ever bank on, that's for sure, because that is a little bit too much free siege. But I guess when we look at the other side, it's who's going to be the man getting the clear, right? Thrall, melee, Blaze, also hybrid melee, not technically full melee. Hanzo has great clear itself, but defensive on the Immortal races, unless you're extremely good at Hanzo, which I would say outside of, you know, maybe the top Korean teams and some of the European and, again, top few North American, very few are good at using those small sidewalls to make sure that they get maximum damage onto the Immortal itself right like that.
It's not easy.
No, it isn't. It's very, very difficult, and very few are using kind of the pixel-perfect corners to be able to manipulate the angles like we see out of the Korean region. Because of that, what I'm trying to highlight is the longest version of saying No Tomorrow does not have any Immortal clear, and it's setting them back quite a bit. And part of the reason Octalysis was so successful over that first, and more importantly, why they're going to be in so much control, I guess, looking over the second Immortal.
See Goku just hanging out in the bush. There's no need to show. You oftentimes refer to, you know, keeping information, showing information, or retaining information away from your opponent. And Goku, he's body soaking. I mean, he's not missing soak, but he's keeping No Tomorrow in the guessing game. They have no idea. Is Goku rotating up? Are they trying to maybe get a 5-on-4? I mean, where is that? And when you can keep that information from your team, it forces your opponent to respond differently.
Yeah, all it took was the first time I ever played MVP, and we tried to take a team fight, and we were like, wait, where's the fifth? We don't know where they are. And then we went back and watched the VODs, and he was soaking on bottom, just mounted behind a gate. And it was like, yeah, that was pretty smart. It takes only a couple of times of that happening before you go, all right, information does matter here. At the top level, Jay Shrite moving up, getting the poke out, helping the team win the race for now. Octalysis did end up getting a little bit of room with that boop as you see him flying around. There's the amp it up mobility onto Goku. Flip over. Does not be able to get out, but he actually gets the hammer and buys himself a little bit of time. Ends up using the heal too. Goku surviving for now here is Prismat. Just giving it pepper to all the members of No Tomorrow here.
Oh, can he get a takedown? There's going to be the boost away. They're able to get away. Level 10 starting to draw near here for Octalysis. That extra spell power that we saw from Deckard, I think, really came in. I think the first heal came in, but then that scroll hit. He got that bonus spell power, and you could see the impact of that. I really wondered, obviously the Sapphire has so much control, so much playmaking potential individually from the support role, but with the nerf recently to the healing potions, I wondered, would we see this at times? And so we are seeing the field study come into play here, and definitely was felt in that team fight.
And you see it being displayed even within a 7, right? For a little bit kind of different synergy for their composition, looking for even more debuff opportunities onto his opponent, I believe.
Yeah, and then that could very easily pair with the level 16 that we get. And Justine, he's going to go in. Nice boop knockback there by Octalysis, making sure to keep Casanova from being flipped back into the team and potentially to his death. So that was a very nice play there. They just now finished the Immortal. Dreaded trying to survive. Justine trying to flip it for his team, but there's the sound barrier.
He gets the sound barrier. Say while listen, though, dropped by Buds. Tomster has to get himself into the bunker as the Dragon's Arrow was already used. No retreat from that. Octalysis end up losing Buds. They do have themselves that Immortal still spawning. Definitely not going to be as ideal here without Deckard.
There was a lot used there, but that Dragon Arrow again coming through money.
Shout out to Lucio for being able to hit a effective sound barrier in that team fight. I did not know how many of those we would be able to get in this game, but that was well done by Octalysis.
Casanova, he's like, I need something. Armor's good, but it might not be enough. And now without Deckard here, it does mean nice knockback there by Prismat on his penetrating round, but without the Deckard there, does kind of keep the reins pulled on Octalysis, but they do get another fort down. Experience not that tremendous, despite only 1 kill on the side of No Tomorrow and 2 forts down. No Tomorrow holding strong.
No Tomorrow is actually going to be able to catch 2 members out, and this is what Octalysis and Lucio is very good at, is that kind of chase down opportunity.
I thought we would see the speed boost in there.
I did as well. I actually thought there was no way he didn't at least look for an offensive boop interrupt to the E channel from Goku, but didn't seem like it was at least optimistic enough for him. I feel like a lot of it is due to the minimized damage that they've actually gotten. The only way you get a kill in that type of situation is if somehow they make the mistake of walking right, not down. Either way, it was an opportunity, but one that is now coming past here. Pressure, though, from Octalysis towards the bottom half, and I feel like both these teams are really just going to kind of clean the lanes safely and not in any major power plays and just be waiting out the way. Dragon's Arrow interrupt!
But
nothing matters. Nothing matters here.
Run, Octalysis wall ride.
He's in hot pursuit,
baby. Here we go.
The police.
You're not making it out of way. Oh, somebody call a doctor.
Get the corner out here. That was pretty.
Oh my, the guts to pull that off. I mean, there was maybe a quarter of a second left on that channel.
Can we talk about one of the coolest things about what he actually did there? Notice where he shot that from positionally. Yeah. It was, he made sure that it hit that Dragon's Arrow was all in the 3 most probable channels that he backs. If he shoots that to the right, he likely is going to miss that and hit only one of those 3 shoves. But he made sure any one of those channels, if he takes the lazy back, he's going to be hit.
I mean, I would have taken the lazy back.
I would have taken the lazy back too. Nobody expects Jay Shrite to be a monster there onto that Hanzo, but my goodness, he is really putting on a clinic here today.
You sure nobody expected Jay Shrite to be a monster?
You're right. I watched that interview word for word, just saying. Look out for Jay Shrite. That guy can be a monster.
Oh, that brings everything back in experience as No Tomorrow, marginal lead, but that will be made up here momentarily as both teams trying to get 13 as the poke starts to come in. Draded, of course, able to get that Li Ming poke in. It'll be a matter of when Hanzo gets his turn, but Justin, he's getting flipped in. Casanova, Goku jumps in with support, but we've got Jin coming in for the stun.
Two-man taunt there from Casanova as well, forcing out the Ardent Defender and the Bunker Buds. Moving up, three-man Dragon Arrow does end up landing along with the Earthquake now, and Goku unable to make it out of there. No Ardent Defender available, and Octalysis down a man. Looking to retreat out here. No Tomorrow, not looking to let that happen though. Five-man, stay a while and listen. Look at that scroll prep, but I wonder, is anything gonna come of it as the Boss Slam comes in? Ooh. Oh, setting up Draded for almost enough for a reset, but then he gets flipped over there. Thrall ends up dropping here. Octalysis down a member, stay a while, turn around, and set it to even.
Well, they're looking for somebody. They are looking for him. Blaze is caught out. Do they get the interrupt? They do. They find Jin over there. He's gonna go ahead and charge out. This is one of those moments where Jen, it might be better to die quickly.
Actually, it depends.
If you buy time.
If Hanzo can get any damage onto the race, but I don't think he's going to be able to get that as you see the B-steps coming in. And the answer is Hanzo with no split push pressure onto the Immortal yet. Not worth it there. Setting a couple seconds behind. 25 seconds where no Jin is available for no Tomorrow. Octalysis, you know that they want to get a lot of percentage in this downtime.
Ooh, Akafe's just trying to get that boot back into the stun. Just missed there on the Goku. I don't know if there would have been a follow-up, but the threat is very much real each step of the way. There's going to be the Indomitable use by Casanova to walk away from that. Again, without the Blaze here, Team Octalysis is able to just walk forward, find their halftime show kicking off.
Defensive posturing here from both teams. Nobody wanting to get too hyphy when it comes to the positioning at this point in time. This is a major breaking point, especially if Octalysis pick up this Immortal after claiming the first two for themselves. No fourth still left for No Tomorrow, but No Tomorrow winning the past couple of fights here. Prismat got the poking and prodding flip out onto Jin. Jeff not going to be able to make it out. He cast to drop the bunker. When he gets out, he's just one shot. Sound Barrier is going to be there and actually didn't land onto Jin. Stay a while and listen. Use Casanova trying to find his way out. Indomitable use along with the Dragon's Arrow. Shadow Charge from Justin. Taunt ended up being used, but two members of No Tomorrow now are dead. And Octalysis get free damage here onto this Immortal.
Dread, that stun was great, but the follow-up on the body block into the Immortal stun forced out that bunker, which is why that went down just before that stun came through. And at that point, again, not getting that timing right, getting out of that bunker for the Sound Barrier, there was no way. It was a matter of time at that point.
Shout out to Lucio and Blaze, though, in that type of situation, because to be honest, I don't think I would have ever been like, yeah, risk getting out of that bunker just so maybe the Sound Barrier hits, because if it does hit, that might have been an opportunity to turn around. And it was a fraction of a second off there. But it does come at the cost. And the cost is going to be a deadly one here, as there is a lot of shielding onto that Immortal. This is minimum probably half a keep at this point in time. I would say very, very likely the entire keep of No Tomorrow going down.
There's so much on Shrite's shoulders to try and get these scatter arrows perfect. He doesn't have to pierce at 16. There's going to be one hitting a couple of those arrows. Again, with the completion of that Echo by Tomster, it has allowed for more poke, but Shrite takes instant damage. Jin goes in, trying to buy time. Bunker down again, but that's already popped, and now here comes the Immortal as the keep starts to fall.
Full 5-man Sound Barrier, but nobody willing to be able to move up past that, and that's a lot of cooldown. 16 talents here will be picked up as this keep ends up dropping. The Immortal is still alive, and Octalysis look like they are not going to be able to make their way back to the base. They want to end this game, end this series. Ladies and gentlemen, last game didn't work out as smoothly. We'll see if it does here as they now make their way in, and one-shot Casanova. Locked down at 3-man Stay a while and listen. Huge amount of resets there from Draded as Jay Shrite ends up using the Dragon's Arrow, but without a responsive kill. Looks like Octalysis have what it takes here.
Here we go, 50% and falling. Not enough defense on the side of No Tomorrow. Octalysis finally going to close this series out and end this series 3-1. And one of the more entertaining series we've had in some time, thanks to Octalysis drafting and the counterplay from No Tomorrow. Again, No Tomorrow held strong, going through some changes of their own, but definitely showing signs of life, but a long way to go. And for Octalysis, look, they said they're coming in playing their own meta. Well, they did just that, except for game number 4. That was pretty standard.
Yeah, that was about the only game we got the normal level play from them, and I feel like now it's just, so many questions based on them, their thought process after getting the success here, whether or not they feel like this is going to be the future direction, right? And then how much of that, I mean, for me, is going to be how much of that hinges on Medivh. The first time, it hinged on Medivh. The second time, it's at least I don't think it's fair to say it isn't yet, right? We've only gotten 3 game sample size at best. 2 of them Medivh was let through and it was picked up. But it's going forward. It's like, is this going to just be the Medivh one-trick team with the clever compositions, or is it actually this, we're going to break the meta?
Does it remind you of a team maybe from this time last year?
Yeah, they went over to Europe now, but it was Roll20 way back there for North America.
Same guys,
yeah.
2 different players. Yeah, they did the same thing, and they were run last year to BlizzCon, did that behind a Medivh-style composition, things of that nature. And, you know, again, when I talked to their coach, they said, we are running our own meta. This is what we're going to do going forward. Yes, I think they can always revert back, but it's a matter of how many tricks do you have? How many different compositions can you go? And when the Medivh isn't there, as you just said, what's next?
Yeah, and I think that's the way you said that is we can always revert back, right? I would raise the argument that you can't. I think that's a mistake a lot of people make, is they think that they can, but they fail to realize that at the top level, when we hear North American teams perform internationally, the first thing they say is we get punished in ways that we never thought we could before. That exact same thing is going to be happening when you play meta versus like the off meta in that type of situation. And so what I'm trying to say is if you come in with that, you know, unique flavor and it's like, oh, we can always go back to it. When you play the people that never walked away from it, they're far better than you ever thought they could be at that level of play. And it's like, yes, you can, but you're never going to be able to match that 1-to-1. So I'm just saying, again, I'm very skeptical of the future. I'm excited that we see this level of flavor from a North American team. I think it's rare that we see them go, we're going to do our style, right? We aren't going to copy anybody else. But at the same time, we have never seen a North American team say that and really be able to back it up effectively.
Yeah, I think a good example to bring up is Tempo Storm. Earlier part of this year had a very similar style where it was the full melee death ball. They showed up at Western Clash, didn't have the results that they wanted. So definitely something that could come back to bite you when we do go to those clashes.
Yeah, that is a really good example, I think, because it was to a point where when they were at their best in North America, right, undefeated, able to dominate, and then performing internationally, it was kind of like, this 4 melees doesn't really have much of a macro game, and it's kind of showing here, right? And that, again, are that level of punishment and that expectation that you have as a team and the mentality. I think it's going to be really interesting because I do expect Octalysis to probably be one of our highest contenders, if not, you know, one of our main representatives at BlizzCon for North America.
Well, the good news is that we can actually talk to the Medivh player because we've got Draded here to discuss maybe some of today's action with us because Draded, first off, congratulations. I talked to Milk and Cookies earlier this week. He said you guys are coming in with your own meta. You guys clearly came in with a strategy. Tell me a little bit about how this came about.
Well, as for the new meta type thing, you know, Justin, I would say he just has like a big brain. Like, I don't know how else to put it. He just theory crafts these comps, like wild comps, and you know, we'll just pull them out every now and then, see if it works. And I think it was just the time to bring it out.
Well, things obviously, I would say that you guys probably performed better at the Western Clash than maybe people anticipated you guys to do. When we had a chance to talk to you guys, you said, look, we're better than our record. We were close in a lot of these series. And now coming back from the Clash, coming with your own meta, how does it feel now? Do you feel like you maybe performed better than you thought you would? Do you feel satisfied with that performance? And now moving forward, do you feel that you can make this run to BlizzCon?
I definitely think that although most people thought that we were satisfied with our performance, we actually weren't. We thought we could have made a deeper run into the tournament specifically. So I think the Clash was a great experience for all of us, though, especially me getting to bond with the team for the first time. I feel like we're coming back to HGC. We're bringing our flair. We're bringing our new meta. And, you know, now is the time to make the road to BlizzCon.
Well, there was a lot of diversity in the first part of Phase 2, especially bringing you on, is that we saw several different role swaps, sometimes even within the same series. But when we showed up at the Clash, it was you taking the role of the Medivh, the Maiev, things of that nature. And it feels like you guys finally narrowed in on a play style. Do you feel that your play style is developed at this point with whatever it is that you guys have, you know, mixed in? But does it feel like this is finally coming to form where you guys have been searching all phase long?
I do, and it's really nice to say that because, you know, this scrim week coming back from the Clash, we had like really great results, and we were just playing like the craziest comps. Like you saw some comps today, but I mean, we've got more in the bag, trust me. So I feel like we're finally starting to get that rhythm, and we're just gonna hope it carries to the rest of the season.
Speaking of rhythm, I'm gonna send you over to the man with lots of it. Dreadnought over here.
I don't know if I got that much, but I do have a lot of probably skepticism towards a lot of the approach here. And so I've got to ask, how much of this new meta do you feel like is going to depend on your amazing Medivh, or how much of it is going to go on to other areas and compositions here for the squad? Because in the past, when we did see, kind of the original Roll20 members be very successful, when the Medivh was taken off the table, their playstyle very much fell apart. What is the team doing to make sure that doesn't happen again?
I definitely think this team is very good about playing around Medivh, and when Medivh's back in the meta, I think he's always going to be, one of those heroes that we can just bring out. And I think right now Medivh is probably one of the strongest heroes in the meta right now, just with all the range nerfs. So I would say that I don't want to go too much into like the drafting behind the comps, but Medivh is definitely high priority in some of these comps.
And then I also got to ask from kind of your point of view here. I feel like, from LFM to where you are now here, and then also mixed with the kind of drastic different, I feel like, ideology that you're enduring here with Octalysis. What does it feel like to, I guess, go from a more traditional approach to, again, this kind of, I don't want to say it's wild, but definitely unorthodox approach to playing Heroes of the Storm?
It's definitely unorthodox, that's for sure. But at the same time, if you have results on it, then is it unorthodox or is it just meta? Like, I don't know. But, I feel like I'm finally meshing with the team and finding my role where I belong with the team, and it just feels good. And yeah.
That's awesome to hear. I'm going to send you back to jail.
Well, Draded, obviously you guys seem to be headed in the right direction, but you guys have a tough road ahead of you. Obviously, trying to get to that #1 spot would depend on a lot, so playoffs seems like the most likely option. When you look forward at the schedule, we heard from Justin in the interview for this week, it was a matter of, we feel we have to win every game. When you look at the schedule, does that feel doable? Do you see anything on your target that you say, maybe this is our weekend, maybe this is where we get over that hump and show who we are?
I think the only weekend that we have to look forward to and prepare very hard for is the doubleheader between Tempo Storm and Heroes Hearth again. It's never going to be an easy one when you have to play the top 2 teams on the same weekend, whether it's hiding strats or drafting different heroes. It's going to be a tough one to look out for sure.
Obviously, you've got. Go ahead.
I do feel like we can definitely have some good results against them this season.
We've got the doubleheader next weekend, I believe, against Simplicity and Endemic. Obviously, Endemic sits at that 4-5 tier. You guys were 1 game away of them winning a game to not making it to the Clash. How important will you see that matchup to make sure that you establish you can look towards the top, but is it a matter of establishing yourself at least in the top 4? How important is the doubleheader next weekend?
Oh, I think it's super important. Obviously, if we're looking ahead to 2 weeks, we've got a doubleheader next week. We're probably expected to get some good results. Obviously, losing to Endemic last season or last split was not ideal. It's going to be more ideal this time. So we're going to see what happens.
Well, you gave us an entertaining day, and we appreciate that. But now the floor is yours to give any shout outs you have.
Shout outs to Twitch chat, who I'm sure appreciated as well. Shout outs to the Octalysis group, who is a great sponsor for us. Shout outs to all of our fans, and stick with us throughout the rest of the season. Thanks.
Thanks, Draded. Congrats.
Thank you.
Well, Dreadnought, if you are not entertained yet, I got good news for everybody out there, because up next, we've got Heroes Hearth taking on Tempo Storm, our #1 and #2 teams. Do not go anywhere. We have your Saturday night treat available. We will be right back after this break.
Gonna let that happen as he goes through the portal. He eats a containment disc of it. He's gonna be just fine. 10 seconds until Ardent Defender is available. Goku, leap #2 onto Jin. He gets a kill before the Wraith Walk even completes. And now this is gonna be just how many victims do No Tomorrow actually have at the end of the skirmish here. Stay a while and listen. Locks down 4.
See how much that buys, because Casanova's still holding strong. Akaface, he's stuck. There's a Prismat in his way. Here comes the portal again. Jay Shrite starting to walk away, but he's going to get taken down. Casanova has the Iron Skin. Will it buy enough time? Goku with the leap in. There's going to be the root. Whitemane making the plays, getting the follow-up. Bud says, guys, it's over. It's said and done. Let's go, champ. As they round out this game, they're going to move directly to the core. You know what? Let's go in for a fight. There's going to be a polymorph. We've got the root. We've got the lockdown on the front side, but that is Ardent Defender out for now. Ball Lightning starting to bounce back and forth, and Jin, he's going to get blown up. Twilight Dream in return, but it's not going to buy enough time as we're going to see another portal. Akaface, he's going to get locked down. This is going to be a double kill, and Tomster trying to hold position. terrifying to go through. Also, we have healing reduction at level 20 picked up. Akaphase, he's stuck in the back line. We do see the polymorph. That's going to lock down one. Get one, take down Prismat, trying to come in to get another, while we do see Malfurion and Raynor both fall. There's another lockdown, the root follow-up, and that is going to be Casanova.
On Octalysis, your boss yet to be leashed, J-How.
Yeah, the boss not leashing is a major play.
Tomster got rooted.
Tomster got rooted. That's a big problem. Prismat lurking, trying to get in there. Jen's going to be the first to fall. Goku on point. See if he's got a knockback. Casanova trying to make things happen. That's going to be 3 members down. Akaphase trying to survive as he's trying to walk away, but Prismat's right on top of him. That's a 4th Casanova.
The double warriors have kind of gone, and then it relies on Raynor because Scatter Arrow is not a range damage dealer. Here we go. The flank is going to be there. Prismat opens up onto Tomster. He actually gets revealed. Pops out the heroic. Look at so much damage on
Sunder.
Sunder comes through and Akaphase goes down.
And now we're looking for more. 7-sided strike. Got rid of those health bars. Jen somehow surviving in this, but 2 members are now down on the side of No Tomorrow. Let's make it 3. They are holding right now. Octalysis trying to survive as they take down a 4th member, and that's going to be a 5-man team wipe here for Octalysis.
Move past if they want to extend the series and hold on. Casanova with the flip there onto Prismat. Boss Lab goes down. The Lightning Breath as well. Shielding on the core is already removed. Prismat gets the heals from Whitemane and actually will be able to heal himself up, and with only 1 member, 2 members of Octalysis, and they do it dropping here 20%, 15%.
Goku on core.
Goku
10%.
No
He's going to be flipped out. There's going to be the knockback. Goku trying to survive 5% falling. Goku is going to go down. There's nothing for Abathur to hat. No clone available. That is going to be a 4% core wipe.
Prismat got the poking and prodding flip out onto Jin. Jeff Propulsion not going to be able to make it out. He casts to drop the bunker. When he gets out, he's just one shot. Sound Barrier is going to be there and actually didn't land onto Jin. Stay a while and listen. Use Casanova trying to find his way out. Indomitable use along with the Dragon's Arrow. Shadow Charge from Justing. Taunt end up being used. Make their way back to the base. They want to end this game, end this series. Ladies and gentlemen, last game didn't work out as smoothly. We'll see if it does here as they now make their way in and one-shot Casanova. Lockdown at 3-man. Stay a while and listen. Huge amount of resets there from Draded as Jay Shrite ends up using the Dragon's Arrow, but without a responsive kill. Looks like Octalysis have what it takes here.